John Cleese is an open critic of cancel culture and previously hit out at BBC-owned UK TV for temporarily removing an episode of Fawlty Towers over apparent racial slurs and outdated language before it returned to screens again. John Cleese told fans he was amused after BBC Radio 4 seemingly cut his interview short, as he claimed had be cancelled if he had a show on there again. The 82-year-old discussed his move to GB News with presenter Amol Rajan, who wrapped up their chat after 5 minutes. Speaking of joining GB News, the actor said, "The nice thing about talking to the GB News audience is they may not be used to hearing the sort of things they'll be saying. But the only thing is, the BBC haven't come to me and said, 'Would you like to have one of our shows?' And if they did, I would say, 'Not on your Nelly,' because I wouldn't get 5 minutes into the show before it'd be cancelled or censored." Amol chimed in, saying, "Well, we've given you 5 minutes today and I can promise you haven't been censored yet." Quickly wrapping up the chat, he added, "At that, I think we should leave it." Taking to his Twitter after, John seemingly implied the irony of the BBC cutting his interview short after he criticized them. He wrote, "I was amused at the moment I really criticized the BBC yesterday. The interview was brought to a rapid end. Before we had talked about the things we had planned to talk about 10 minutes earlier." Express.co.uk has contacted a representative for BBC Radio 4 for comment. BBC listeners shared their thoughts on the situation on social media. TC wrote, "Quite amusing that you had to go on the BBC to publicise your show on another channel, all the time knowing you intended to criticise the channel you were using for that publicity. Almost as if it were deliberately antagonistic." Defending his words, John said he was explaining to listeners why he never got the same opportunity at the BBC, which he claimed seemed relevant to the question of why I was doing it on GB News.